obviously the two groups going again today. That game group was the group that's out there first, and then the practice group, which we'll head out there in a little bit. But excited to continue to move forward here. We got another game tonight back at MSG, so I think our guys are excited. They're probably getting sick of drills and sick of being here and want to play some games, so that's a good thing. So that'll be fun.
Mika obviously playing tonight, so it looks all clear for him, and that's, I'm sure, good news. In your preparation, getting to know him, coaching against him, just what you know about him, what excites you about having him potentially as one of your top centers?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a really well-rounded player with a really high offensive upside, and so I think he thinks the game really well. He's a very smart hockey IQ, and he's able to take that and bring it to the ice with his skill level. So it'll be nice to get him out there today. I think players want to get in the lineup and work on things too with regard to the things that we've been trying to put into place here. Just get them into a game in a situation where they're learning. And so we had a great video session with everybody today, just some of the things that we did really well last game, and then some of the things that we do better, and we showed it to everybody just because we want everybody to learn. So he'll get a chance to go into that game tonight and play.
Saw Miller skating with Fox. What do you imagine that pair could be?
I'm not sure. I know that they're two really gifted players. Again, when you're behind the bench and you actually coach a player, you see it a little bit different. You see the talent on both of those players, last game, and what they're able to bring to the table together. I'm hoping it'll be a good pair. They both seem to defend well, but their offensive upside is really high, and that'll be a good pairing just to watch and see them play and make evaluations after that. So I think it's good. I mean, Gustafsson and Schneider tonight, I think just watching them play and see if there's chemistry and what that pair looks like.
What the official report on Phil is out, and he's day-to-day still not practicing, but anything you can add to that?
He's day-to-day probably for a few days. Again, nothing that's a real big concern. I think just erring on the side of caution, making sure that he feels good, and we'll just move through camp, and when he does feel good, he'll be back. But I think day-to-day, knowing that I'm saying it's probably a few days. That's a pretty fair assessment of where he's at.
What have you seen in your first week with Lafreniere? We certainly talked a lot about him being on the right, getting a turn with Mika and prior tonight. How responsive has he been to what you guys have been putting in so far?
Really responsive, really easy to talk to, really easy to coach. He seems like he's really excited to me to get an opportunity to, that line's in place for a reason tonight, to take a look at it. And there'll be more opportunity to continue to look at things with different players like there is tonight. Those lines are set for a reason and set for a purpose. Not all of them, but some of them certainly are. And I think he's been really good. I don't think he hasn't come over looking, telling us that he just can't figure out how to get out on the right wing, or how. I don't think it affects him really that much. And I think the more he does it, the more he just stays with it. That's opportunity, up in possibly in the top six, or looking at him in power play situations.
There's so much when you watch him play scrimmage, whatever. Does it jump out at you that, oh yeah, this was the first overall? I can see why he was the first overall.
There's a skill level that goes with him, his hands, his ability to make plays in tight areas, and I think, again, the hockey IQ part of it goes there. And so I think he's in a good spot, Larry, with regard to previous development with him. Not everybody comes in 18 and just smacks the league around. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than that. And I think that there's been a process to him where last year he had his most productive year. And so with that comes maturity, comes a different physical presence from an 18-year-old kid to, the players that we're talking about that are 22, 23, 24. There's a big difference in that. The experiences that they've gotten along the way, their growth, there's a difference. And so you'd like to think that, you know, with opportunity and you get a chance to, like tonight, to play with a couple of really good players, that you want to see some positive things and some good things.
Dude, you got so much skaters going on around you, putting in new systems, things. Has anything, do you look at the goalies, has anything stood out to you about Igor Shesterkin in this first week of camp that, you know, now that you're getting that
Yeah.
view of him?
The one thing that, you know, all the goalies out there, but you're right, I might be looking at Igor and Jonathan a little bit more, is their work ethic. You know, you're talking about two goaltenders in the league that are really good at what they do, and different, I think at a different point in their careers, but they're both still really good at this level. And what I love is the work ethic that they both bring to the table. They're workers. They just compete on shots, they compete in drills, and to me that oftentimes that has a ripple effect through your team when your team becomes hardworking every day, and it's led by your goaltenders and your leaders, and that's the standard that can hold and stick inside of your room. So that's a real positive.
We saw some power play work today.
Yeah.
The history recently here has been, at least 4 of the 5 guys have been pretty much locked in there. Mika, Kreider, Panarin, and Fox. You know, do you foresee any like bigger changes in that to it, or are you want to toy with some things? Like, how are you looking at that?
You know, those players that you just mentioned are really, really good at what they do, and so my eyes are open. I'm watching, but I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, those guys are in jeopardy of losing their positions. They're really good power play players. They're first unit type material. I think trying to find the right mix underneath that, and with that has to come production, you know, inside of that opportunity. But we're going to look at different things. The units that we worked on out here today are just game units, and so I think again, once the number comes down in size and we get to a more manageable group, that's when you'll see it every day. Power play practice, the penalty kill practice, and you'll start to see some units, and we'll start to look for some cohesiveness, and again, get into that last game, try to maybe get down a road where we think we might want to start, and then from there it's got to stay consistent with how they do things.
Do you generally favor loading the top unit, or do you like to balance it, maybe divide the ice time a little more evenly?
I think that chemistry has a lot to do with it sometimes, and so, but again, in saying that, my eyes are still open. I know that we have a lot of players here that are growing, and so I want to see what they can do as well.
First time these guys are seeing the Devils since the playoff loss. Did you watch that series, and what did you see that you did?
I'm watching from the outside. I'm not part of the series, and so, you know, I think unfair for me to dissect anything I saw. I know that they're two good, capable teams that won 7 games, and I've been involved in 7-game wins and losses, and I know they're tough. When you lose and you're hoping or expecting, or you think you're in a position to win and you don't, I don't know if it's right for me to come over and criticize or critique it. I'm excited about today and this group and the journey that we have in front of us to try to get back to that point where we can look at our first round opponent and put the whole year's work into place and say, here we go, here we are.
You talked about some individual young players. What's impressed you the most about Brendan Hoffman and Will Cooley?
I think he's a young player that's working and, you know, past, you know, getting bumped and not, you know, coming out for a minute, but I think he's working and trying to put himself in a position. He's trying to show what he can do offensively. I noticed physicality the other night. He's trying to work hard, trying to make an impact, like everybody, to show what they can do inside the training camp. So I understand his past and what he's done, and there's a process that goes with that to becoming an NHL player, and he's in that process right now. And so he's getting opportunities. He'll continue to get opportunities to show what he can do.